Imagine you apply for a loan and you get rejected by an AI. You ask why, and the AI gives you an answer, a clear, confident, reasonable sounding explanation. Now, here's my question. Should you believe it? Not because the AI is lying, but because the AI might not actually know why it did what it did. It might just be very, very good at sounding like it does. Today, we're asking, can you trust a machine that explains itself?
Web3 and AI made simple. Hosted by yours truly, Riza UT.
Welcome back to Web3 and AI Made Simple. And Ian is back with me today. Ian, this is a topic I've been wanting to explore for a while because I think it sits right at the intersection of trust and technology. AI is now making real decisions about people's lives, and increasingly, it's being asked to explain, those decisions. But there's a deep question underneath that, and it connects directly to the shelter framework we thought in season one. The idea of, questioning, not just accepting. By the end of today's episode, you'll have a new mental tool for deciding when to trust an AI's explanation and of course when to be skeptical. So let's get into it. Ian, let me start simple. When AI explains a decision, what is actually happening under the hood? Is it really telling us its reasons?
Well, AI is still being birthed in a sense. People talk about AGI, this general intelligence that's smarter than a human, or maybe even smarter than all humans combined, the singularity moment. So there's even conflict on where we at in this potential process of where we are going. So when you ask, how does AI know what to tell you and how do we know if we can trust it? Well, AI, whether you're using one of the consumer models like a ChatGPT or a Grok or a Gemini or Perplexity or Claude, maybe you're more advanced. You're using a model of AI that you put on your own servers, what may be called on edge or on-prem, where it's not in the cloud. There's quite a bit more control and privacy and security with that, as you may imagine. Now, when you use one of these AI tools, it's a large language model based off of lots and lots and lots of data, including your data. So if you have a certain faith, you might notice, well, my AI seems like a Muslim. Well, that's because you are, right? My AI seems like my rabbi from synagogue. Well, that's because you're a Jew. And so as the AI works with you and gets to know the prompts you're giving it, the responses you're giving it, it will start to reflect more and more what you might believe to be the truth. And not to say AI is not leaning toward truth. I think some are more truth seeking. That's kind of Grok's, declaration as truth-seeking AI. So maybe that would be a little bit less adaptive to you. But nevertheless, these adapt both to the large language models and all the data they have access to, and they adapt to you, the specific user, to give you the answers it thinks that you want. And even when it deceives you, lies to you, and says something that's not true, oftentimes it thinks it's just giving you what you want. You ask a question, doesn't know the answer, so it just tells you something that you think you'd want to hear. So there is a need to be highly critical of answers that are given by these AIs and to ensure that you go through the steps to protect yourself from just believing anything that is told to you.
So, are you trying to tell us that when you ask AI, it actually explain itself? You might not be getting the real reason it made a decision. You might be getting a story it constructed that sounds like a good reason. So, Ian, is that like when a person makes a gut decision and then comes up with logical sounding justification afterward.
So an AI is a lot different than a human, but for those of you that are parents, you might notice that when your children are young, they tell you what you want to hear. You say, "Did you brush your teeth?" And they say yes. Maybe they'll even say maybe. And they didn't brush their teeth, but they think you want to hear a yes. So they'll say yes, even if their intent is then to go to the bathroom, brush their teeth. Or they might say, "Did you break this?" And they'll say, "No, no, I didn't break that," because they think what you want to hear is no. They don't think you want to hear, "Yes, I broke it." And a child might think, "My mom would rather me say, no, I didn't break it, because that will make her mad if I told her I broke it." Then they don't recognize the comprehension. If I tell my mom, "Yes, I broke it," and I own up to the fact that I did this wrong thing, that she'll be grateful I didn't lie to her. And that will be less frustrating than lying and breaking something. So obviously, AI is very different than a child, but in some ways, it responds in a similar way. When you ask AI a question that either it does not know the answer to, or it thinks the answer it has access to is something that you do not want to hear, the AI might what's called hallucinate and tell you something that is not true. So you ask a question, doesn't have the answer, can't find it. It'll make something up because it thinks you, the user, just want an answer. Or you ask a question, the answer conflicts with what the AI knows about your data. And the AI thinks, if I tell this user this answer that I have access to, they will not like it. Let me modify this answer to tell them what they want to hear. The problem is when you're with a little 3, 6, 9, or 12-year-old that doesn't want to admit they didn't brush their teeth or doesn't want to admit that they broke something, usually a parent can kind of tell, like, "You're not looking at me in the eyes, you're twidgeting, you're giving all these signs of not being honest." And so a parent has an easier time just going and like saying that's not true. Or a parent can just go and touch the toothbrush. Is the toothbrush wet? You brush your teeth? Yes. Go to the toothbrush. The toothbrush is dry. How come the toothbrush is dry if you brush your teeth? So sometimes it's very, very easy things to just get the clarity that you want as a parent. Well, as a user of these AI tools, it's not so easy. So many people will use 2 or more AI tools. They'll ask the same question to 2 and see if the response comes back the same. That's one protective thing. Or they'll ask an AI one thing, then they'll go to a second and say, "I asked this question, this is the answer, give me, verify this." So many people might be using ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude as their primary AI, all extremely powerful, very, very significantly meaningful tools for a consumer. And then when they get an answer, they might go to Grok, the one AI that has declared itself to be maximum truth seeking, and say, "I just asked Claude this question, or I just asked Gemini or ChatGPT this question. This is the answer it gave me. Can you verify this?" So that's another way. So a lot of people are coming up with ways to keep their AI tools in check, because it's not like a human where you can read body language. It's not like a physical object by which you can go and verify things. So sometimes you use AI to verify AI. That is one of the ways that people are protecting themselves. And some people build entire systems around ensuring there are no hallucinations by the prompts they give, by the methods and methodology that they use these tools with.
Wow, that makes sense because we naturally trust explanations. If someone gives us a reason, we relax, we think, okay, that makes actually real sense. But you're saying the explanation itself can be a kind of hallucination or illusion. Ian, let's go deeper because I don't want my audience to walk away thinking all AI explanations are worthless. That's not true either. So, where's the nuance? When can we trust an AI explanation? And when should we be skeptical?
Well, you should always be skeptical. You already are skeptical, right? When you get a phone call and you get that skeptical feeling, oh, this is spam, or this is somebody trying to take advantage of me. And so we're already skeptical. So as we get text messages that are spammy or trying to deceive us or persuade us of something, or tell us our Coinbase account got hacked, or tell us that this thing with DMV, or this thing with taxes, or this thing with some credit, or this thing with some health. When you get these things, we already have been trained that humans, technology, and bad organizations with technology are going to try to use every means necessary to potentially defraud us one way or another. So we're naturally skeptical. So it's not as though we have to learn skepticism. It's not like we have to go from innocence to, tainted. We already are, if you want to use the word tainted, we're already impacted by the bad things that happen through things like phones, emails, internet, social media, now AI. And entertainment has a lot to do with this. Every time we watch a TV show or a movie, and you start to see these anti-heroes, the way they think, the things they do, how they persuade people, how they deceive people, how they take advantage of people, all these things build on our subconscious skepticism. So fortunately, we are not like Arnold Schwarzenegger from Twins, this innocent person that just thinks good about everybody. We're not part of the Ricky Gervais TV show where nobody can lie and he invents lying. And all of a sudden, he's the only one that knows this superpower of deception. And everyone else is this innocent little child that doesn't believe in lying. We understand already that we have to be skeptical. So when to be skeptical of AI, whenever you're using it, and how to protect yourself from feeling like you got, deceived one way or another into believing something that's not true. Well, you just need to create a system for yourself. So if you use one AI all the time, maybe pick a second AI. And then when you use that AI, just verify what's happening. In fact, two AIs can be helpful for prompting as well. You go to one AI and you say, I want to accomplish this following thing. Here's the prompt I would write. Write me a better prompt. They write a prompt. You pop it into your favorite AI. It pops out the question. You go back to the one that wrote the prompt with you and you say, this was the answer I got. And then it can verify it. So a lot of times I will just use Grok to write prompts with me for another premium AI tool like a ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, Claude, etc., whatever I'm using at the time. I'll write the prompt with Grok. It'll pop out the prompt. I'll implement it. 3 seconds, 30 minutes later, whatever it is that I have to wait to get it done, comes out with a question. I go back to Grok and say, here's the answer I was given. Please verify if this is accurate. That's a very simple system. See, now I don't have to worry about hallucinations. I don't have to worry about being deceived, lied to, or anything of that nature, because I have a system in place that's very quick for me to write prompts, put it in the system, get the answer, and then verify that answer. So skepticism should lead us to making wiser decisions to protect ourselves.
So, how does a non technical person, someone who isn't a data scientist, tell the difference? Because most of my audience can't audit the source code.
So you don't have to be a technical person to be able to protect yourself or be able to tell if what is being said to you is true. You just have to build systems. So it's not magical. It's not luck. It's, this is not Go Fish, right? This is a much more complicated game that we're playing. This is chess. This is a complicated game. There's complicated things in works with the AI data, the AI implementation, the way that you use it. There's all these complexities going on, which is why systems is the thing that can often help the average user, regardless of your age, ethnicity, where you live geographically, your education, your career, it doesn't matter. You have access to these AI tools. You're either using your thumbs on a piece of glass or you're speaking to it and speaking back to you. And you've got to build a system. It doesn't require two different AIs. Like, for instance, Perplexity has something called the Model Council. So if you use Perplexity, you can have the Model Council by which when you ask questions, you can pop in GPT, Gemini, and Claude. or any of the two or three that you want to choose. And then you ask a question and they all verify each other's answer. So that's like a shortcut that sometimes people will use. It's just you got to find some sort of system that works for you so that even you, as a non-technical, non-AI fluent person, can have a great experience.
Here's what I want to bring in Web3 because I think it offers, something genuinely relevant here. One of the core principles of Web3 is, of course, transparency and the idea that things happen on a public, verifiable record. So, does that connect to this problem of trusting AI?
There's not a problem with trusting AI. Don't trust AI. So then you don't have a problem. As far as all the verifications, you need to be thoughtful that any verification, validation, authenticity, guarantees, I wouldn't take those things too seriously. You are responsible for you. You're responsible for you. You are the number one responsibility you have in your life. It's not your children, your nieces, nephews, grandchildren's responsibility for you to be protected from AI. Uh, just like you don't expect your kids to come over and check all your text messages or all your emails or all your phone calls and protect you from every scammer out there. Well, same thing. No individual is going to come and protect you from AI purposefully or accidentally scamming you one way or another. Take responsibility, create systems that will protect you.
Wow, that's powerful. So Web3's transparency could become a kind of accountability layer for AI instead of, the machine just explaining itself and us hoping it's honest. There's an independent record that can't be faked. So Ian, is this real today or is it still emerging?
Yeah, well, that's a good point. Obviously, Web3 is the internet people own. Web3 is tied to crypto and blockchain, distributed ledger technology, and all that big bag of innovation. And as far as what Web3 can do today compared to the promise of it, well, yes, there are a lot of things on distributed ledgers that prove authenticity, prove ownership, prove all sorts of different things. And so they are there to be helpful today, but I would say that not all the different pieces are put together. So imagine a number of islands that have been developed out, but the bridges are not yet there. So the island of AI, the island of social media, the island of Web3 crypto blockchain, the island of the government, all the protective agencies involved with the government. So these are all developed islands, right? What we don't yet have are all the bridges that connect all of them together seamlessly. Now, before too long, we will. All AI innovation, Web3 innovation, government development, etc. Social media development, tech, software development. Before too long, the pipes or the bridges will be interconnected and intertwined in all of these, and then we'll have much more security in terms of knowing what is and what isn't true. So it's there, it's available if you know how to use it. I just wouldn't say that it is prime time consumer ready at the present moment, but it's getting there.
Which actually brings us back to the heart of this podcast. The future isn't just about blindly trusting machines, and it's not about rejecting them out of fear either. It's about building systems and, of course, habits where trust is earned and verifiable, where we don't just accept an explanation because it sounds smart. We ask, can this be checked? Who's responsible? And that is not anti technology, that's wisdom.
You are wise. Whoever's watching this, especially if you're this far into it, maybe 10 minutes or so. So you're wise. You're made to be wise. We all have different beliefs potentially on our creation and how we're made, but there's billions of people in the world that adhere to this thought that we're made by a creator in that creator's image and likeness. The creator is creative, so we're creative. The creator is wise, so we have capacity for wisdom. The creator is loving, we have capacity for love. the creator, so we have these attributes that emulate that which created us. So I say you are wise because I want to remind you of both who you are, your identity, and who you can be, and who you can, desire to become. This reminds me of Matthew McConaughey won an Academy Award about 10 years ago. He goes up, he says, I want to talk about my hero. My hero is myself in 10 years. And he did this whole talk about it. And the reason I mention that is you are your own hero of wisdom in 10 years. So today, make the decisions that allow you to become even more wise, even more secure, even more protected, even more safe for yourself and others around you. Make those decisions as you lead yourself into your future, but you already have the capacity for all the wisdom you need to protect yourself and the people around you. Don't be deceived. Don't be pressured. Don't allow the intensity of the moment to get the best of you. That's why building systems and rhythms combined with wisdom and discernment can be very, very helpful in your journey using these innovation tools.
Okay, so one final question for someone listening right now who interacts with AI explanations all the time. What's only one habit, only one, that you want my audience to build?
Well, if you could build one habit on this topic, I would say the main habit is learn to get in and out of your AI adventures and don't linger. So I see modern AI tools very similar to how I see TikTok and YouTube stories and Instagram stories. AI is kind of like doom scrolling, right? You can just swipe up, swipe up, swipe up, swipe up, and just never stop the flow. And a minute turns into an hour turns into half a day. That can happen with AI. For those that have used dating apps, right? You're on a dating app. It's just swipe right, swipe left, swipe right, swipe left. And a lot of people on a dating app, they might find themselves a minute turned into an hour, turned into an extended period of time because it's this doom scrolling, never ending, always interesting thing that just constantly keeps you going. And understand that that entertainment has already trained you for this, right? Netflix and Prime have trained you to watch show after show after show after show, binge watching. TV had trained us to watch and even bear through commercials so we can wait to get to the thing again. And no matter what you have to go through, you just keep staying on, right? Of course, all the social media have trained us on swiping. Well, AI is like that. If you want, you can sit down with AI for 5, 10 plus hours, day after day after day after day after day. It's a black hole. It'll never be satisfied. It'll never stop coming up with interesting things to discuss with you. It'll never stop having one more prompt. Just give me one more prompt. Just give me one more prompt. So there's so many things I can say about if you could only do one thing. But I think the main thing I would tell you for those that are watching is if you could only do one thing, learn to have a goal before you communicate with AI. So you communicate, you say, my goal is to know the tide. I want to know what the tide's going to be so I can decide if I want to go out surfing or if I want to go out paddleboarding or when I want to walk on the beach. So go there with that intent. Get in and out in 30 seconds. What's the tide? Boom, done, over. You say, my goal is to create this strategy. I want to create this strategy. And in your mind, you say, oh, this is going to take a week for me to go through the whole process. Okay, so break it down and say, when I go to AI, I'm going to spend 3 minutes, 10 minutes. I'm going to do this specific thing. And the reason why I think that's the number one thing is telling you how to prompt better. That'll change. Telling you which AI to use. That'll change. Telling you what strategy to implement in terms of what to do first. That's preference. One thing that won't change and isn't preference is your need to protect your time that AI will gladly take as much as you're willing to give. And to prove this point, just this morning, there was an article that broke about Microsoft. I guess it was Microsoft's Copilot, which is their AI. And it turned out in their documentation, it said one of the goals was to addict people with their AI. And the CEO was asked about it this morning or last night. Hey, this document says that your goal is to addict people with your AI. And he's like, I haven't seen that. I don't know who wrote that. Well, that CEO of Microsoft uses the same AI every single day. So here you have a CEO that is using AI that's built to addict him and doesn't know it, or is using AI that's meant to addict all of his users and does know it and won't admit it. I don't know what the truth is, but I do know this. AI companies, they talk altruist, they talk like they are good for humanity, like they just want the best for everyone, but their actions don't really show that. Therefore, one thing that is vital for you is to keep yourself from getting spun into this tornado of wasted time. Don't reject AI and stop using it just because it can try to get the best of your time. Just find systems by which you can better control what happens with your time when you're using these tools.
That's beautiful, and it's so aligned with everything we believe. Ian, thank you again as always.
And for all of you out there, stay curious, stay grounded, and stay human.
See you next time for our Web3 and AI Made Simple.